2017 second annual Walpole Chamber State of the Town Conference, we'll call it today. Before we get into some of the agenda, I'd like everybody to rise so we can pledge allegiance to the flag. That'd be okay? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So, right off the bat, I would like to introduce Executive Director Bill McGinley of New Pond Village, this incredible senior center. I mean, oh my goodness, it looks like a London castle, doesn't it? And you'll see today a lot of what we'll be talking about is everything that is great about Walpole and why Walpole should be a destination location for many, many people. So, Bill, if you could come on up.
Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to New Pond Village. Who's here for the first time? Wow. Well, welcome. We're glad to have you here. I'm joined by several of my associates who are in the room, and I thank them for everything they do every day, but particularly being here early this morning to set the room and get everything ready. I'm also joined by John Tinkler, the president of the New Pond Village Residents Association, who's here this morning. I'd like to thank Harry for having you all here, and we certainly welcome you. I'm so impressed by the work of the Walpole Chamber, especially when I only recently learned that Harry's a volunteer. I just assumed he was the paid president of the Chamber, but congratulations to you and all the work that you do on behalf of the town of Walpole. Big news here at New Pond Village this week is that we are finally on Facebook. So if you want to pull out your phones and check in, you'll find us right now, at least temporarily, we're listed as Brightview Senior Living in Walpole. I'm working with our home office down in Baltimore, Maryland, to actually change the name to New Pond Village. We are owned and operated by Brightview Senior Living out of Baltimore, Maryland. They operate 35 communities such as this, from as far north as Danvers, Massachusetts, all the way down to the greater Washington, D.C. area. And while I'm at it, if there's anyone here in the town of Walpole that heard rumors late last year that we were being sold to another company whose name starts with a B, we are not, okay? There was a potential sale of this community. It did not go through, so we're happy to still be here working for Brightview Senior Living. New Pond Village, for those who don't know, we have 199 apartments here. 162 are independent living. Folks who may be 55 or older. We have a lot of couples here. People live in 1, 2, or 3 bedroom apartments that range from about 700 square feet to 1,100 square feet. And this is a retirement community. So when you or someone you know are ready to stop worrying about cooking, cleaning, shoveling the snow, cutting the grass, if the roof is going to leak or the boiler's going to break, come on down. We're ready for you. We'd be glad to have you. We also have something here that's a little unique. We have a program called supportive care. And supportive care is a concept that is similar to what you may know as assisted living, but we think we do it one better in that we have a nurse here on our staff, in our community, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So that nurse is not only there for the folks who live in the supportive care part of our community, but she or he is available 24 hours a day to the independent living residents as well. We have some nice new upgraded apartments you can see here, and we will offer tours. If anyone would like to see one of our apartments, my sales director, Michelle Kennedy, is here, and her partner, Janet Johnson, is here. They'll be happy to show you around the community or show you one of our apartments after the talk. So we say New Pond Village is a great place to live. It's a great place to work. So we're happy to have you all here. Harry? I'll be manning the technology over there now for you.
Thank you. So Bill's just going to bring up our PowerPoint on the chamber. 1 second.
Yeah.
So before I go into our just little overview or presentation, if I could have our board of directors please rise for the chamber. And I just wanted to introduce you to them. Again, as Bill had mentioned, we are all volunteer. The Walpole Chamber is very unique, one town, one chamber, and we're doing everything possible to grow this town through the business channel and be advocates for our business owners, our sales professionals, our companies. So first off, we have Pam Adams, our treasurer. Or if you could announce yourself.
Treasurer, Elaine Stevens.
Walpole VNA.
Dennis Doucette, Lair Realty Partners.
John Sexton, Village Hudson, Flowers, past president, and on the board.
Cliff Barnes, retired.
Henry Baker, Baker Studios.
And I'm Patrick Shield from the Walpole Recreation Department. And I'm Mark Resnick from the Artcraft Company.
Excellent. And we also,
Dental Associates of Walpole, I didn't.
yes, all great businesses and great sales professionals. Missing today is Jay McLaughlin from Thompson Reuters, lawyer, law, marketing. Anybody else that we were missing? Alif Burkott, who's an attorney, real estate attorney as well. So again, thank you very much to my board of directors and everything that you guys have done. And again, so this, just to do a brief overview of our chamber and what we're all about. Again, it starts by talking about we're not your typical chamber. Our mission statement has a lot of different wordings and missions, and at the heart of it is, again, being the advocate for local businesses, being the guy that's going to protect the small guy when needed. You know, there is somewhere of a gray area. We are business proponents, no matter what. And I always wonder, you know, when it comes down to the big guy or the small guy, you know, who are we really supposed to be in that corner for? And really, it's both. I mean, the big companies that we have in town, Siemens is probably one of the largest, is a member of the chamber, and they do pay a lot of taxes into our town and support our town greatly. And then we have the smaller people. An example that I just saw at the Selectmen's meeting this week was Stop and Shop versus Sam's Liquors. Stop and Shop is looking to put in beer and wine, and Sam Liquors is trying to protect their business and what they're doing. So again, it's a really a hard thing to say. Who are we supposed to be, whose corner are we supposed to be in? And I think it's both. And that leads me to, again, where the chamber is trying to go. We're trying to lead this community in a path where we all come together, whether it be town government, business owners, or local residents. So we can all come together, be on the same page, and walk away with the benefits that we all want to have, and to try to be as fiscally responsible as we can. So you'll see our tagline is advancing business and community. Next slide.
Harry, I should have asked.
Yes.
You want me to answer one slide, or you just want me to?
I've only got a couple, so you can do it. This gives you a quick little rundown of a lot of the actual categories of businesses that we have. You'll see everything from accounting, financial, family services, health products, senior living, martial arts, you name it. I would like to ask all of our people that are here today to be ambassadors and advocates for our local chamber. If you are out and around town, if you're going to your dry cleaner, if you're going to your accountant, ask them if they're a chamber member or look them up. And then if they're not, ask them why and how that could be a great resource for them to give back to the community and also grow their business. I got involved in the chamber about 4 or 5 years ago. I had recently just left some volunteer work at the Medfield Rec Department and thought, all right, it's time to give back to Walpole. You know, this is where I'm from. And I surprisingly found that there was a Walpole chamber. And I think I hear that a lot. Oh, I didn't even realize there was a chamber in Walpole. So we are growing. We have become very energetic, and it is revitalized. Just last year, we probably grew membership by 22%. 4 years ago, I think we had 50 people on the roster, maybe 20 people actually coming out and being active, trying to support the activities that we have always done. And now we're close to 160 today. For a town like us, that is a very good number. And when we go to other chamber events, whether it be a ribbon cutting or a social event, I would say they average 20 to 25 people. We're knocking out about 35 to 40 at our events. And that's incredible. And I think that's so much better because we know each other very well, and we always care about each other. And we want to see everybody be successful. We try to help that person. So that's, again, what makes Walpole Chamber very unique. Just to list a bunch of the events that we've been embarking on, we've stepped up on a monthly basis, at least 2 networking events, one in the morning and one in the evening. Sometimes the evening can include a social event or a ribbon cutting. And you'll see here, just recently we have Lydon and Murphy, Jeffrey Lydon and Steve Murphy, over in Norwood on Route 1 had just joined our chamber, home and auto and life insurance. So we had a great time there. Below here on the left, you'll see, I believe that was our grand opening ribbon cutting for Patriot Tavern. And again, this was something that, again, I am different because I'm the chamber president, but I've been driving by the Patriot Tavern going, what's going on? What's going on? Something's going on over there. And I can't wait to get a beer if that place is coming back. So I actually walked in and knocked on the door. Nobody was there. Again, a week later, knocked on the door. I found one of the contractors. I asked him all the questions. Found out that Steve Hickson was going to be the new owner and proprietor. And he called me, and we tracked each other down. And we had a great conversation, and we thought it would be great for them to become a member. And where's Steve today? Steve Hickson from Patriot Tavern. So that's been a great example of turnaround in Walpole and a great success. On the top right, you'll see an event that is our Walpole Scholarship Foundation. I'll go into that in a second. And on the bottom right is TV star William O'Connell from, where's William? Where's Bill? Bill, there he is. So he's one of my star interviews on the Walpole Business Spotlight show. I assume, by show of hands, who's seen the show? On TV, like seeing the show, or on like Facebook? Facebook. So it is on local access channel. It's Walpole Media TV. Peter Jabaley is here today recording. Thank you, Peter, and thank you, Walpole Media TV. But what we like to do, again, is to bring into spotlight local business owners, sales professionals, so we can enhance their awareness to the community as far as what they do and how they do it, so our community, our citizens, our buyers can make educated, intelligent buying decisions. Couple other things to move down the agenda. The Walpole Chamber has been very active with Walpole Day. Patrick Shields, again, is on our board of directors, and he is the head of the Walpole Rec Department. Walpole Day has come further and further. I think last year they had well over, was it 1,200, 1,500? Probably the biggest I've seen. So watch your calendars. What date is it?
Saturday, May 13th.
Saturday, May 13th. Incredible event. Great for the kids to come out. You've got companies with booths and giveaways. We also have the Walpole Day Parade. So it's one of the best events, I think, in Walpole that's been going on, and it's a can't miss. Also, we've reestablished the downtown banner program. I'm not sure if you've seen the new banners that have been out downtown. We had a couple of them that were flailing and kind of gone or chasing down down the street with the wind. But Cliff Barnes and Mark Resnick have been on that committee this year and have reestablished the banner committee. It's been another great way to help support our business owners and have them just have a great sight line of to our consumers and our residents going down the street so that we can use their services. And you don't have to be a chamber member to get one of those banner signs. So again, if you know of a business that might be a great opportunity, please let us know. Also, I would say our biggest event every year and our biggest expense is the Santa Parade and the Christmas tree lighting. Again, oh, here you go, great. What an event. And this year, again, overwhelmingly, the most people that have come out since I've ever seen. Hot chocolate is donated from Dunkin' Donuts locally here. We've got carolers. We've got a Christmas committee. They don't like to be named, and so I won't, but they do an incredible job, and you probably know who they are. And it's just been a great event, and it really shows us what Walpole, again, is all about and what makes us very different. And that will also be a theme we'll talk a little bit about today. I hear that a lot. Walpole is different. Next, Walpole scholarships. So Walpole has a long-lasting history in supporting students and the school system as well. I think when the scholarships were developed, they thought that, there was a large amount of scholarships that were available for seniors going off to college. So they thought that they would do something a little different, which was to help out the kids once they've completed a full year. So we do give out $5,000 a year currently, and I want to name the names because there's probably a lot of people here that remember these people. There's a $2,000 Willis D. McLean Memorial Scholarship Award. There's a $2,000 Alan D. Rockwood Memorial Scholarship Award. And then there's a $1,000 Walpole Chamber of Commerce Meritorious Scholarship Award. Recently, by the way, we do have a little office space now, 944B. It's above the Vero Italian restaurant in downtown. And Tony LaRusso has just graciously given us a little bit more space, so we're expanding a little bit there. We kind of were in a closet. So we're going to get a little bit more professional. And at one point, we're going to actually offer it to our members to use as a meeting place or an office that they could use to meet clients or do sales presentations. But we were going through some of the books, and one of our longstanding members, Cliff Barnes, mentioned that we used to give scholarships to the agricultural schools. So we thought that we would at least reach out to the Norfolk Aggie School and present them with a $500 scholarship this year for seniors that are graduating. So on that note, I would like to kind of just pause on the agenda and bring Cliff Barnes up for a second. I just want to recognize Cliff for a moment. Want to come over this side. So Cliff, I'd like to present Cliff with the Walpole Chamber of Commerce Certificate of Appreciation. It hereby grants Cliff Barnes for outstanding civic service and lasting contribution to the Walpole community from 1966 to 2016, 50 years of service. And we are going to name the scholarship for the Norfolk Aggie School the Cliff Barnes Award.
My brother graduated from the Aggie.
Excellent. Awesome. So Cliff has been an integral part of the chamber and keeping it moving forward. He's our historian, our go-to guy. Beth Pellick as well, that couldn't be here today, another board of director, is again an integral part, and both of them we wouldn't be able to have moved on and keep growing without you. A couple quick more things. The Walpole Chamber this year for the first time took part in the Mega Business Expo up at Patriot Place. It was again a great turnout for a lot of business owners, and the public came through and people were able to make sales and gain relationships. We've established relationships with the United Regional Chamber of Commerce, the Neponset Valley Chamber of Commerce, as well as the Tri-Town Alliance. We also have a seat on the Economic Development Committee in Walpole, and that's been working out great as well. We give our thoughts, the Economic Development Committee has theirs, and we try to, again, advance business moving forward. The EDC has, I think, 2 years now. This last year was the second year that they've established the Downtown Live. Show of hands, how many people were able to get down there for Downtown Live? Not a lot. So we got to get that word out more. Last year we had, I think, 3 events on Friday evenings and wrapped it up with the big event up at the square where we had there was 3 rock bands. The square was cordoned off. There was food. That was an incredible event. And that is kind of the theme of EDC, as well as another personal or project that we're hoping to move forward, and that's downtown revitalization. And we'll talk, we have a guest speaker today on that. Again, the Walpole Chamber is about business and community, and I'd really like to hope that people can walk away today as just community residents. We do have an offer where you can become a member of the chamber as a social member, so please look into that. And, you know, again, we're a charitable organization, and all the money that we do take in, we try to give back out. So we've been giving out a lot of our our monies in the forms of donations to, you know, sporting organizations, the WYBA, Walpole Little League, Walpole Lions Club, the RB Foundation, Student Council. We get involved with the Friends of St. Patrick. We like to get a table there. That's another great organization that does great things. And again, if anybody knows of somebody in need or an organization in need, please let us know, and if we can help out, we'd be more than happy to. Just to finish off on the Walpole Chamber in review, I just quickly would like to have Bill Frears, who is our green energy person, just do a quick 1 or 2 minutes on a relationship we have with them. It's basically a great win-win-win scenario. Business owners can save money. The money, there's also a percentage that can go back to the charity, to the chamber, which in turn will go back to the community. Bill, are you here with us? All right, Bill. Bill, quick. I can get some of those out there.
Good morning, all. Bill Frears. I'm with Viridian International. Viridian is a sustainability lifestyle company. We offer and help people save money as well as helping the planet on products and services that they use every day. In Massachusetts, our products include responsible electric and gas supply, as well as totally free solar, and our newest product is a travel light. What we do is we try to, like the Chamber, our goal is to give back. Last year, our energy products saved people up to 21% nationally, and our sustainability efforts caused 9 billion tons of reduced carbon emissions in the atmosphere, which is very, very cool. We expect that to go through the roof now with our travel product. What we do is we try to work with nonprofit organizations like the Chamber to give back. So we have a unique partnership with them in this fundraising opportunity where we would like all members of the Chamber, as well as their network, to join for free. And what happens is, all you have to do is do what you normally do. Pay your energy bill or book your travel bookings online. Our Travel Light product is the cornerstone of this basic fundraising program. What Travel Light is, it's a zero-carbon travel program where we will offset the entire carbon footprint for your hotel stays, airfare, car rentals, recreational activities. We can do it at a discount of up to 50% over Expedia, Priceline, and other travel booking sites, and we offer it at 110% guarantee. So we just handed out a flyer. It has some basic instructions on how to sign up for free. If you have any questions, you can see me afterwards. But basically how it works is you can sign up for free. You will get access to 15% savings on hotel bookings and car rentals. The Chamber, for every dollar that you save, will get an 80% cash rebate on that. So look at it this way. You guys decide to spend the night on Valentine's Day at the Hyatt Regency in Boston. You book through the Travel Light portal. You'll save $40. The Chamber will earn $32. That's very cool. So all I'm asking is that you guys sign this up, go for free, give it a test drive, compare it to Travelocity or any of the other booking sites, and you'll find that it's a win-win for everybody. Win-win for your pocket, win-win for the Chamber, win-win for the environment. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. So, see, Walpole can go green. You know, just because we don't like single stream and barrel arguments, and we're different, I guess. We like to get our trash to be picked up as much as possible and be able to throw anything out there. But we can still go green. And just to talk about that, by the way, the single stream and the current trash pickup programs, we do need to do a better job. We do need to get that education out to the community about how we can be a better community when it comes to recycling. I think the numbers was something like 15% is going to recycling. We could easily get that up to 25 or 30% if we're diligent, if we're educating our community, and I think that can happen, and so we can get the best of both worlds. So our next speaker, our next speaker is our State Senator, James E. Timilty. Jim has been with us at the State House for how many years now? 13 years. His education is through St. Louis University, Boston College, and then again involved with the Mass Senate since 2004. He is a Walpole resident covering the Bristol and Norfolk community, and I'd like to welcome Senator Timilty. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Harry. Excellent job, and I want to congratulate Cliff Barnes, colleague in government, retired now, but for a wonderful 50 years. You've left a great legacy, Cliff. It's well-deserved. And thank you for the Chamber for having me. I'm here to represent the delegation on what has become, well, it's the second annual State of the State for the town of Walpole as it relates to you and your legislature. I'm representing Representative John Rogers, Representative Lou Kafka, Representative Paul McMurtry, and Representative Sean Dooley. Not all of what I say they will share, but basically the five of us are dedicated to working in unison to represent in the Massachusetts legislature the town of Walpole, and we work together to do some things that have, I think, a tremendous impact on the community as a whole. And we're coming into the state budget cycle where we expect to spend about $40 billion throughout the Commonwealth to do the business of the Commonwealth. But one of our main focuses, and I think it's had a big impact, it was the brainchild of Representative John Rogers, but it's the Prison Host Community Fund, basically prison mitigation. That has hit the town of Walpole for the past 15 years anyway, but certainly the last 12 that I've been in, and it's about $800,000 in aid to the town of Walpole. And I think that has been a significant help to the bottom line of the town of Walpole, and it has led to, I think, some of the progress among community buildings, which are so necessary, basically a senior center, police station, and a fire station. I think that's taken some of the burden off the budget planning, off what Jim has to do down at Town Hall, and that has allowed him to do some very good things, and I think that will mean for future generations here in Walpole, it'll mean some better. The service is magnificent anyway, but I think it's going to lead to better housing and better service, and that's something that we have to fight for. Not every community gets that. Obviously, not every community bears the burden of hosting a correctional center, but that $800,000 means quite a bit. It's only 4 communities that get it. There is a tremendous amount of area competition. There are many communities that do host some state facilities that don't get that, and there is a big fight, literally a fight, not in a physical sense, but in a verbal sense, on maintaining that service that we get, and that'll be my principal mission when it comes to the budget time about what I do. And I hope to be successful as I have been in the last 12 years and longer over in the House, but it's something that we work very diligently, and we've been successful, so I'm pretty proud of that. Also, I think there are some things that are happening in the state. There's some expansion on the transportation system in an area where I think it's not necessary. It's a significant expense in an agency that's $5.1 billion in debt, and for those of you like myself who live on 1A and who bounce down that road every morning, every afternoon, and every night, I think you'd realize that we need Route 1A to be redone. And there are also several intersections that are very, very dangerous in this town. And getting the Department of Transportation to get out of the transportation building, to stop thinking so globally and start working locally has been a difficult mission, but I think that you're an agency that gets itself into $5.1 billion in debt, even though they're getting a penny on the sales tax, unlike the School Building Authority, which is working, to get those people to really be rational and understand. I understand you need a transportation planner in an agency, but that shouldn't be running it. You should have somebody who knows a little bit about a checkbook and a little bit about fiduciary responsibility and who will act locally. Because these small towns that didn't vote very well for the previous administration really suffered, I think, to some extent, because they were very city and Boston in particular centric. And based on that, and based on the big dig over the last generation, the town of Walpole has suffered. So myself and the delegation have tried to turn that around. I think this administration, which is the 2 people leading it, we're a local official, one in Shrewsbury and one in Swampscott, have an understanding and have been more receptive to issues of small towns. And those are the main things that we are working on for you. To some extent, I've been the lead on that, so therefore, I'm responsible for taking my message to state government, and I've tried to do that and continue to do, and I hope to be, with some efforts based on some business people in town, also working on the ancillary ends of government. And what I'm talking about is the Metropolitan Planning Organization, which listens to business communities. I know Tom O'Rourke from the Chamber is on that, having them bring our case, so it's not just the typical government official who's just working parochially on his, but also to what it might mean to the region. And it's something that's vital and necessary. So those are some of the big projects that we're working on. I also have some issues that I've got from, or some highlights of services that are needed in certain populations. So we're working on certain bills for those people to improve people's lives on health care in other areas. That's what I'm also working on. And then when I hear from any one of you about an issue that you have in state government, whether it be in any one of the stratas that we deal with, which I'm telling you, when you're in what I call a representative town meeting, when you're one of 40 for 6.4 million people, and I represent a district that has about 165 to 170,000 people in it, you hear from a lot of different issues and areas, and I try to react to them. So if you have a question on any particular matter, and I'm going to leave time while I'm up here for any questions and concerns you may have today on any one of a host of things, including a vote yesterday. So please feel free to reach out to me at any time. I'm in the office, I'm at the house. Anytime you need me, I'm working for you. And if you have a complaint, concern, or an area you think that we can improve state government, please reach out to me. I'll come meet with you. At any time, I'll come here. You can come to the State House, and we can get together and we can work on issues together. So with that being said, Harry, is it appropriate for me to take some questions here? Go right ahead, sir.
So how did you vote on your pay raise this week?
I voted yes. Felt very strongly that the Senate President should not be paid $102,000, thought he should be paid $175,000, and I voted for his stipend to increase.
And you just admitted to your failure to be effective in getting the state to be more concentrated on local activity and local improvements, and you voted for your pay raise.
I never said that I was ineffective.
Excuse me?
I never said that I was ineffective. I said that I was working to get that done.
No, you just admitted to us that you were ineffective because you weren't able to tell the state government to spend more money on local services, and then you voted yourself a pay raise. I mean, how do you justify that? I just can't.
Okay, then we can disagree on that, sir. But I can tell you right now, if the understanding is that I'm in the legislature, the executive, which is the governor, controls the executive. That's the Department of Transportation. It's not my department. It'd be the same as if I were a town meeting member and I suggested something happen. It's not because I say it that it gets done. So there.
Typical politician.
That's fine.
Okay.
You asked the question, you got your answer. And again, please, this is more about prospering Walpole forward, moving Walpole forward.
And if anybody would like a larger discussion on what happens in state government and my role in it, whether I am effective or ineffective, that is up to you to decide in November. But I have not wavered, I have not equivocated, and I have been heard. The fact that the governor, previous governor, or this governor has not repaved 1A, you can blame that on me, but if you have an understanding of what the legislature does, as it is town meeting, and what the executive does, you'll understand that that's not my department, but I will continue to go work and fight for you every day, and it will be done. And I hope it's done in the next construction cycle, but it's up to the Metropolitan Planning Organization and the administration. They have taken politics right out of transportation planning. That is by design.
Jim, does the 1A project, does it start just at the Walpole line, or does it start more in Norwood and then come through?
It is going to start at the center of Walpole and go to Norwood first, and then it will go from the center of Walpole down to the Norfolk line. And it's beyond 25% design phase, because we had a meeting some 3 years ago in the town hall, in Blackburn, where things were moving along. But then, by a decision by the administration, the Patrick administration, they supplanted what they were doing on 1A and went to Foxborough train station to do a superfluous train ride for about 100 riders into Boston at a cost of somewhere near $300 million.
Jim,
Yes,
how do we help you, how do we help ourselves to get that moving more
please
quickly?
contact the governor's office. If you're a business owner, if you're someone who lives on it, sometimes because the political person keeps asking and keeps asking, there are 200 other political people, and think of all the selectmen who are asking for projects all the time. There is a tremendous need. The Transportation Finance Commission report said that we were $6 billion in the hole for transportation needs that we had in the state now. Why is that? Because of an ill-fated decision in 1986 to depress the central artery, which led to $40 billion project in just a few certain areas. And when you take a look at it and you hear somebody say big dig debt, that is the Silver Line, that is the Rose Kennedy Greenway, and that is the Courthouse T Station. So it's transportation projects that were unnecessary, and it diverted a tremendous amount of resources from this area over the last 25 years. As I said it, 25 years, took that away from these areas and brought them right to Boston. And the useful life of that engineering project, which was landmark engineering when it was done in '93, it's coming to an end. Something real bad could happen. So it was, as I say, it was a decision in '86 by a couple of politicians and a governor on the federal level that morphed into a project that has paid some dividends, but it shortchanged us. And if you want to blame me, I was in BC High, taking the train in to BC High in 1986, and they still collect the fare, and when I get on in Plimptonville, the same way they do right now. And that is a shame from somebody who was taking the Metro. So I'm working very hard. I'm sorry I can't get it done, but I'm one of 200 in that town meeting up there, that representative town meeting. But there are a whole other areas where I have been tremendously successful. Outside of leadership, probably one of the busiest and most successful legislators that have been up there. And there'll be others that can tell you how much I've done. Go right ahead, please.
I'd like to tell them, on behalf of the children and seniors that we serve, we would like to thank you for all of your advocacy for home health care and for all of the things that you have done to make sure that as many people as possible can be cared for in their homes.
Thank you very much. And I'll hang around here too. If you want to come and if you have a problem with me, please, come and talk to me, yell at me, do whatever you want. I'm here on your behalf. I work for you. You're my bosses. If you're not happy with any of my votes, come and talk to me. And I'll listen.
Joanne Davis has it.
Joanne, please.
Joanne Davis. Senator Childsey, I'm delighted to see you. I'm always happy to see you. Thank you. I have a couple of questions to deal with the train going to Foxborough. Number one, does that town pay an assessment now for the MBTA like we do?
It's significantly less. And there were no plans by the transportation system to assess them further based on that train station.
And why wouldn't they?
It's wrong.
The second question is, I no longer drive. I take the ride, I take Uber, I take a taxi. However, I had occasion to go over to the Brigham at Foxborough several times, and I took Uber, and I could not take the ride because the ride does not go to Foxborough. The line is here. And why doesn't it? Because it's not connected with the MBTA, Foxborough. If the train went to Foxborough, would the ride also go to Foxborough?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so. And I have been working, I'm on the HESCO Elder Advisory Board, and one of the biggest subcommittees that we have and have been working on for 5 years is about the paratransit. It's about the ride and other services, because some of the caregivers who would go to Norwood Hospital or go to some other places where you bring somebody for healthcare needs would notice that one person would come in on several different modes of transportation, whether it be the Foxborough Senior Center bus, whether it be the ride, which doesn't service some areas, including parts of Foxborough where they drop off in the Sharon parking lot, is that we're not doing it kind of like the schools do with special education transport. They have a collaborative that makes it more efficient, saves some money, and provides better services. We cannot get the MBTA to pay attention enough to these small cases where they just focus on big projects. So there's a lot of waste, a lot of lack of service, and a lot of sometimes duplicative service. So we are trying, I try through the state budget each year to make them pay attention, to get better at it. But what happens is you have nameless, faceless bureaucrats who decide to do these projects, say yes or say no. They're not accountable to you. They don't come and take this mic and listen to somebody. They don't have anybody at their front door, and they don't have anybody in the State House who comes in and lets them know where they are. I mean, and I signed up for that. I said, let me play shortstop and bat third. If I strike out, then I'm going to hear from my people, and I just did. So it makes me a little bit angry, not at the question, but at the circumstance, and at the agency that doesn't listen. So I recognize the problem, Mrs. Damish, and it's one of another thing. It kind of gets me a reputation for bad sportsmanship because I bring up the negative quite a bit about where services are lacking, where agencies haven't run well, and some are based on mistakes of the past, as I highlighted. But it's an imperfect system, and I'm trying to make it more perfect.
Well, as they say to former servicemen, I thank you for your service.
Thank you very much, Joanne.
Former Selectman of Walpole, Cliff Stafford.
Cliff?
Thank you. I'm going to pick up, if you don't mind, on a couple of the previous conversations and give you a tiny bit of inside baseball. 2 years ago, before the December meeting on the Foxborough train issue, we had the Board of Selectmen from Foxborough and the Department of Transportation appear before us at the Boyden School. The gentleman who is probably the most disingenuous, non-transparent director happened to be the one that kept all the information away from us. Fast forward a few months, and the delegation, myself and Jim Johnson, are in on the Route 1A project. And out comes the chairman of that board, who by the greatest of coincidence happened to be the guy we had just given probably an hour's worth of hell to. So he tried to ace it and get it out of the picture, period. But because of the strength of our delegation, because of our interference, they gave us a 2020 date. That has to have due diligence on a regular basis, and my compliments to the delegation and to Jim Johnson for doing that. On the Health and Human Services component, our family is blessed with a young lady that is severely handicapped, and to the point of where there probably are only 1,000 of them in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts with such severe disabilities. Our family was also blessed that we could present to my daughter a home with a hospital suite basically in it. However, to help these children, we needed a sponsor, and a couple of weeks ago in the nurses' hall, under the leadership of Senator Timilty, all of our delegation being there, a bill was passed that will help the nurses that treat these severely handicapped children the opportunity to make some normal money. And Jim, perhaps you're going to talk about both of those issues.
It's very 906 individuals, and the Hello Kitty room on Hummingbird Lane, one of my favorite places, and my most important constituent, and working on that behalf. And unfortunately, and again, we have the suggestion in the legislature. We're town meeting members. There are ways we can get things done through legislation, through bills, and I'm filing a bill on pediatric palliative care. And what we're asking for is about $16 million, we think, for smart services, better trained, because the level of care is an ICU nurse. And the money that the state pays is not commensurate with what the private sector was. So they have to, it's a pull and a strain, and these families desperately need this care, but they are pulled, the skilled professionals who do that. And when you don't spend the $16 million up front to bring this care that they deserve and need, I don't think anybody would disagree. Anybody who knows the families, knows the individuals, understands that Massachusetts in 2017 should be doing this. But if you don't spend the $16 million to do the right thing on the front end with that care and that service, then you spend much more than that, because no regular hospital can take these children should an episode happen. And they have to go to an intensive care at Children's Hospital, and the bill that is racked up from there because you haven't been able to do the preventative care would stagger you. So it's another episode of where the state doesn't spend smart money on the front end, similar to the homelessness situation, where you're putting people up for $100 a night and not giving them housing and saving money, not spending good money in certain areas for good individuals, but only responding to big, large companies and big, large interests that force spending certain ways. So I'm very happy to work on that. I plan to be successful, and I've had many successes in the legislature, and I continue to go and try. Every day is a new day, and I'll continue to work for you. And again, as I say, if somebody has some complaints and concerns about any matter that I've done, feel free to reach out to me, call me at the State House, call me at my house, or come and see me over here.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks very much, Harry.
Appreciate it. Jim, we do appreciate everything that you do for us. We know that you do have an uphill battle with the State House, and they keep looking at Walpole as being different. I know that's going to be the theme today. And we have voted one way for a number of years, but I think last year, actually, last presidential election, it was the other way, which is usually favorable downtown, correct?
I'm sorry, Henry.
Usually we vote one way in Walpole, but I think the last presidential election was a different way. Correct.
Yeah.
Usually it's the other side. And usually that's not a good sign for us at the State House. Right, so anyway, bring that message that they voted for Clinton over there at Walpole, and we can use that to our advantage when it comes to the 1A project. And And again, that 1A project is huge. That is going to be the foundation and structure that's going to start sweeping through Walpole, that's going to start bringing change as far as business, that's going to attract business owners to start businesses, build buildings, and it's just going to look lovely, and things are going to start to really change. So, Jim, we will stay on you and keep pushing on that. But again, we thank you for all your work. On the agenda, State Representative Paul McMurtry ran into a scheduling conflict. He's speaking at a Cancer Awareness Foundation, and we're more than happy that he is there today. But we have our Walpole resident, Bill Buckley, from John Rogers' office, who's an aide for John, State Rep John Rogers, and he's going to speak a little bit about education and 40B fun stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. Thank you, Harry. Thank you for last night allowing me, telling me of the opportunity to speak. I went to a chamber business, which I will not name, and wrote my remarks on a cocktail napkin, which I will place in front of me now. My name is Bill Buckley. I have the honor of being Chief of Staff to Representative John Rogers. It's a little daunting to go after our friend and neighbor, Senator Timilty. He said all the good things, but I am also a member of the Walpole School Committee, Walpole Town Meeting, and the Walpole Recreation Committee. It's very nice to be here specifically with a lot of familiar faces. For a number of reasons, I used to work, before I worked in government, I worked across the street at the Harrington House Nursing and Rehabilitation Center for 9 years, taking care of Walpole seniors. So there was a lot of interaction between more active seniors here in this facility and who would sometimes move on and be with us for a little more higher level of care across the street. I also would be remiss in addressing you if I didn't mention my gratitude to the Walpole Chamber, because a few years ago you were kind enough to give me the Moody Rockwood Scholarship for civic engagement, and I thought of that as I bought tickets for the scholarship raffle walking in, but I just want to, again, articulate my gratitude for you, as someone who worked his way through undergraduate across the street. It was very nice of the Chamber to support a local kid like myself. So I just want to speak very briefly about the partnership and progress that the 5 members of the Walpole legislative delegation have with members of our community here in Walpole, the Chamber being an important part of that, as well as some of our real local leaders like Selectman Gallivan, Cliff Snuffer. I see some other folks here, Mr. Pilla. The work we do is a collaborative effort, and it's a collaborative effort rooted in communication. And I think we've seen in Walpole, because we have the benefit of having 4 individuals in the House, which gives us 4 times the votes in the House, along with the leadership of Senator Timilty, we can do great things for our community. Just last week, members of the Finance Committee, School Committee, and Board of Selectmen got together to talk about education issues and the funding that is, I know, priority for my boss and Senator Timilty, and all the members of the Walpole delegation, bringing more dollars and unfettering our school district to provide the best education possible for the students here in Walpole. I can speak to that firsthand as a school committeeman, but also I can tell you that that helps trickle down into the business community as our schools continue to be strong, our housing values continue to be high, which is good for Mrs. Damish and Damish Real Estate, and my neighbor Janet Robertson and her real estate concerns. And as we continue to be desirable, I think that helps all businesses in our community. We also, in the House side, we have the great opportunity to have Rep. McMurtry, who's not able to be here today, who is a small business owner in Dedham and very active in the Dedham Square community. He went from being a concession seller in high school to the owner of the Dedham Community Theater. And Rep. Rogers owned a small law firm in Norwood, and now he owns a mid-sized law firm on State Street. And I think I will use this opportunity to give a shout-out to Danielle Huntley, a chamber member here in Walpole, who just opened her immigration law firm. Last month, was it, Danielle?
Last month, yeah.
Last month. Excellent.
She hasn't joined yet, but I think that right there means that.
Well, see, I got her.
I guess I have to do that.
I get a cut of that. Thanks.
Yep.
But I think that collaboration is exceedingly important, and events such as this, where we can hear from the business community, are exceedingly important. A very small example I use a lot is the Representative Rogers' position on non-compete agreements was colored heavily by discussion we were able to have with the Hollingsworth and Vos Company, which has been on the banks of the Neponset River since before our republic was founded here in Walpole. And they were able to discuss their specific needs in relation to the highly trained staff that they can bring out here to Walpole, who are all doctorate level and above qualified in the sciences and engineering, and their difficulty in retaining good people and their desire to stay in Walpole and not go to Kentucky or Europe. So I think that's just one small example where discussion amongst the business community and our legislators who work so closely together is very important. And on issues like the MPA project and the 4 lights, it's so important that we have so many people in our community, in government, who can team up with us. Talking about 4 lights on Route 1A, the 93-95 interchange project has been on for 30 years in the same sort of limbo as the 1A project, and it's only through the work of people like Jim Johnson and people on town boards to come in and join us in the State House and at the Department of Transit to continue to keep that a priority, that the projects like that don't fall by the wayside. But I will leave time for questions, but I want to highlight, and Rep. Rogers always instructs me to highlight the importance of not only the dialogue, but the collaboration we get to use with you. And I think that's very vital. And Walpole, Representative Rogers only has 2 communities, Walpole and Norwood, but Walpole has always had a history of having deeply civically engaged individuals who help color the debate at the State House and color the projects he and Rep. McMurtry and Rep. Kafka and Rep. Dooley pursue for the town. And I will answer the first question from Mrs. Damish, because I wrote it on my cocktail napkin as you were talking. Senator Timothy did not mention, he may have not fully, that through a Council on Aging breakfast we had, I believe it was at the Norwood Senior Center 2 years ago, Senator Timothy and Representative Kafka came up with an idea to study all of the different transportation needs and gaps in the area, and that's something I think all 5 of our legislative delegation are working towards, because I know Rep. Kafka speaks about how it's so acute in Sharon, where the ride will pick someone up at one street, and then someone will get an Uber, and then someone will get another form of transit, and they can't get to Foxborough from one town. So we have these conflicting and non-overlapping areas, and looking to really streamline and save time, money, and manpower in providing especially senior and disabled transport in our region. So I know that's something that's a priority of theirs, because it's something that we could perhaps streamline, save money, and provide, most importantly, provide a better service in. But I'm happy to take any other questions. Rep. Rogers does focus mostly on education and senior stuff, so. No? Nothing? Right. Great. Thank you. Thanks, Ally.
Okay, our next presenter is going to be Richard Pila of Paramount Partners, and he's going to talk to us about downtown revitalization, commercial redevelopment, and really why Walpole is so great, its quality of life, and why people should start really looking at downtown in a different way, and how we can progress and move forward. And I'd really like to say that maybe next year, I'd like to get some of the members of the Historic Commission involved with this as well. I think we'd all like to see Walpole move forward, but in doing so, keep the best of our history and move that forward along with some modernization. So if I could introduce Richard Pila from Paramount Partners.
Thank you, Harry.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning. This is my first time here, and I'm truly impressed, not only with the facility, but such a large attendance. So obviously, Harry's efforts and that of the Walpole Chamber should be applauded for being able to bring this many people this early in the day. Harry and I this summer met a few times to talk about the Walpole Central Business District, the downtown. And it came after a discussion at Town Hall regarding the temporary parking situation once the new fire station was going to be start construction. And there were a number of merchants, some property owners in the downtown that were really concerned. And so this kind of started a discussion about this. And what I would like to do today is just provoke a dialogue that's not going to be resolved today, but hopefully it'll start planting some thoughts with many of you and others throughout Walpole to talk about how the people of Walpole would like to see their downtown function. Before I get into this presentation, and we're going to jump through these slides because we only have a certain amount of time, and I know there's other things that other speakers. But I want to ask some questions, and if you can just raise your hand. How many of you are elected officials, Walpole elected officials, or representatives like Senator Timothy that represent the town of Walpole, including RTMs? If you can raise your hands. Okay. How many of you are town staff and or department heads? How many of you own real estate in the downtown? How many of you own and or operate businesses in the downtown? How many of you are here because you have an interest in the future of Walpole's downtown? Good. For those of you who did not raise your hand, you flunked the exam. And why? I'm going to be passing out my associate Sam is going to be passing out a couple of articles that I wrote last year for Banker and Tradesmen, and there are certain subjects that have come up, especially of late, in terms of population shifts within the Commonwealth and in and around metropolitan areas throughout the country. And those topics spin off other topics in terms of housing, traffic, conservation, taxes. And so the reason why you should all have an interest in the downtown is because if the suburbs do not improve the quality of life in their communities, do not offer the kinds of activities and services that most people like, especially younger generations. Those younger generations are going to leave the suburbs to go to the city because there is a definite shift for certain segments of our population to the cities from the suburbs. And why is that a concern? Because those are the future taxpayers in our communities who will be paying the taxes in order to support essential municipal services that every resident, regardless of age, wants in their community and from their elected officials. And that's the reason why we should be concerned about the downtown. It's not just the downtown, it is all of the other issues that are a spin-off from what happens or what does not happen in the downtown. whenever new projects are announced, there's always some concern. Is there too much traffic? What impact is that going to have on my property or the abutting property? What is that going to do with the whole dynamic of a community? There should not be concern when projects are announced, because those are opportunities. And if those projects are looked at not in a vacuum, but in the context of the entire area, and the planning and the comment, during the comment stage, when the developer comes before the planning board, or the zoning, the ZBA, and various departments, and the building department, it will have the feedback from those folks, and there's that give and take. And that's what makes for a successful project. But in order for that project to really be embraced, and to really be successful, and to really accomplish what the town would like to see happen, it really needs to be done in a broader context. Another reason, there is an opportunity to expand the commercial tax base. Most communities want to expand their commercial tax base. Why? One reason, one very good reason, is to take the tax burden off homeowners. Some towns are restricted either because of size, they've reached a level of maturity in terms of the development opportunities, but there are other towns, Walpole being one of them, where there is development opportunity. And are we taking advantage of that in a way that meets the objectives of the community and the residents within the town? When we talk about a downtown, what makes a successful downtown? Critical mass. I do for a living, I do site selection, among other things, for national retailers, restaurants, financial institutions. And I traveled throughout pretty much all of New England. I think the only state we really don't do business in is Vermont. And as I go through these towns, I see which ones work and which ones don't. And retailers, many of which are leaving your regional malls, and they're going to village-type centers, like a Legacy Place or a Derby Shops. And why? Because they feel that their brands are strong enough that they don't need the being in a big regional mall as in the past. But they also feel that more of they want to be closer to their customers. And every retailer has identified a certain demographic that it wants to sell its products and services to. And one of the things, when they look for a location, they want to see complementary businesses that combined will generate the kinds of traffic, customer traffic, that will allow them to be profitable. So when we look at a downtown, any downtown, whether it's Walpole or anywhere else, there are certain things that one needs to recognize as being critical in order to attract the kinds of tenants, retailers that you want to your downtown, that are going to provide the services and activities that your residents want. Walpole, when I first moved to Walpole, I'm new. My wife and I just moved here. It was 7 years in November, and we love the town. And one of the first things, even though I was familiar with Walpole, not intimately, but through my travels as a result of my work, I had an understanding of the town, but not an intimate understanding. So one of the things I did was, it was a bright, sunny Saturday morning in the spring, and I walked around, I took pictures of every building in the downtown. And I looked, and I kind of looked at the whole the route system, and said, this town, as nice as it is missing the boat. The yellow indicates all of the land that, in the downtown, that's owned by the town. It's quite substantial. Now, a lot of that is recreational facilities where you're not going to develop, but you want to leverage those assets in order to create the kind of dynamic critical to the success of a downtown. You have underutilized buildings. You have a large, let me go back to this one. We do have enough parking downtown. It's just not managed correctly. A lot of people don't know it's there. The access is tenuous. And parking is critical, especially in the suburbs. If you live in downtown Boston or the Back Bay or the Seaport District, parking isn't as critical because a lot of people live there, but and people are used to parking, paying for parking in the city. When you get to the suburbs, people are looking for that convenient, free parking. We have it. We just don't let people know where it is, and we don't create a sufficient number of spaces that could support the businesses downtown, and especially if you're trying to attract new businesses downtown. So as the town starts to think about, and hopefully they will, of how they want their downtown to evolve, one of the things that needs to be paid a lot of attention to is that parking and that flow. One of the articles that we passed out talks about transit villages. There's been a lot of talk about, the Foxborough stop through Walpole. That's something that can be addressed. But I want to focus on the benefit of Walpole being a transit village. The depot is here. People commute to and from the city using this mode of transportation. This is one of the drivers that can help make Walpole's downtown vibrant, and it should be leveraged as much as it possibly can. The best example of a transit village is Coolidge Corner in Brookline. It's the oldest. It works well. And do you ever see a vacant storefront in Coolidge Corner? Do you see rents that are $15 a square foot? No. You see rents that are significantly higher, and there are no vacancies. And besides the access to public transportation, there is a density of residents that are there 24/7 to help support those businesses. Again, about the downtown. And I know the downtown is larger than just this block bounded by Main East School, and I forgot the other name of the street, but as you can see, I'm not that long-term a resident. But there are gateways into this center of town. People have heard me say before, I like the little building, but that's where one of the gateways should be. That space between the building on the left and the one on the right, that should be the gateway that connects where all of the municipal buildings are, the parking lot, with all of the businesses along Main Street.
Richard, about 2 minutes.
Yep, okay. Again, these are just different angles. The most important intersection in Walpole is Main and East, and yet it's missing something. When you go to other communities and you drive in the middle of town, oftentimes you would stop and say, wow, you know, there's a lot going on here. Look how attractive that is. Instead of having vacant storefronts and having buildings that is a solid block of brick with no animation, no light, retailers want to see a lot of glass so that what they're merchandising, as pedestrians or motorists drive by, they can see there is that correspondence between them and what's going on in those buildings. These are successful buildings. Again, as you look at these images, this and this should be this. And one of the buildings that could help contribute that is the current police station, the old town hall. Personally, I believe that this building should be put on the tax roll, but it should be put on the tax roll, and it should be, an RFP should go out, but that RFP should be written in a way that's going to help, that's going to allow this building to be the catalyst for what goes on around it. But this is a whole different discussion. So, and then one last thing, it's about massing. In this particular corner, you have several small lots. You're not going to be able to do anything significant there unless there is an assemblage. And that assemblage could begin to take advantage of this municipal lot. So, you know, we're not here to say, yes, we should do this, we should do not do that. What we here are today is to, again, open a dialogue and start talking about these issues and what really makes the downtown successful. And this is a pet peeve of mine. This is one building in from that main intersection, that when people coming from other communities are driving north or south along Main Street or east-west along East, this is one of the things that they see. I would encourage the chamber perhaps buy a couple of gallons of paint and some planters and do something with that, because when people come by, that's not the image that you want them to have of our town. Thank you.
That was awesome. Thanks again, Richard. That's a great presentation. I know I think I saw it about 2 years ago, and you've made it, massaged it a little bit, but I think everybody has to agree. To some of those pictures that he showed you that are eyesores and aren't looking too good, does that resemble Walpole, as far as we know it? I don't believe so. We do have a long way to go downtown. And I think we all agree that some people in this town like to see it be that old, sleepy town. And I don't disagree with them to a certain extent. I think we need to mold the old and the new. The current police station right now, I think everybody would agree, it will never go. That will always be in Walpole. We will never see that leave. That is going to be our shining symbol of what Walpole is all about. But we do need to move forward. And we need to devise a 10-year plan downtown where everybody is on the same page. We need to make things change. We need to get kids down there hanging out on skateboards. You know, it needs to be changed. I think we all agree with that. All right, so next, and again, Richard, thank you very much. And if you could give us that PowerPoint, and we could put it out on our website, we'd be happy to do that. Next up is our Chief of Police, John Carmichael. John has been with Walpole for, I'm sorry, I lost my glasses, many, many years. And he's been doing an incredible job, and I welcome Chief.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm very impressed. Usually when I do police presentations with cops, we can't feed them till the end because they all try and sneak out. So it's very good that we eat first and everybody stayed so far. So I appreciate that. First, I'd just like to mention, as a chief in Walpole and a public safety official, I'm very involved with the Massachusetts Chiefs of Police. I've been thrust into a lot of different public safety issues and public safety matters that affect Walpole, have an impact on Walpole. And as a result, I've had to do many presentations and testifying to bills and that nature at the State House. And I'd just like to, Senator Timilty has been a huge advocate for public safety, been on many public safety committees, and he's a huge advocate for us. And I know, and I've seen him firsthand up there up at the State House fighting for us, and I appreciate that, Senator. Walpole, I'm just going to get into a quick overview of the Walpole Police Department. We respond to about 22,000 calls for service every year. We have anywhere between 450 to 500 arrests, another 100 protective custodies, and we respond to anywhere from 350 to 400 crashes a year. But, to me, that's not how we measure police performance. We measure police performance by you and your perception of us, and you grade us every single day. It's not for me to do. I'm just the facilitator and try and get the guys deployed to where we think that they need to be most, and where we think they're most needed is in our community. And so this, in that first slide, I just want to mention that that was our sixth grade football team. I hope that puts a smile on your face, Donnell. Our boys, we coach football, and they made it all the way to the state championship, haven't lost a game in 4 years, and it's an amazing group of kids. So the reason why I put that in there is because a lot of our officers on the department do a lot more than just wear the uniform. They do a lot of other community engagement type of activities outside of work, and a lot of them are football coaches and baseball coaches and hockey and everything else, and I appreciate that they do that. So moving on, the Chamber of Commerce is very important to us, and I hope that we're important to you as well, because the department is all about engaging our community and creating partnerships, and that certainly means not just our citizens and our youth and our seniors, but also our business partners in the town. So I think it's very important that we develop those relationships, and we're always very open to doing that. So, okay. This is just an overview of the department. We are now at 42 police officers. It's the most the department has ever seen. We were pretty stagnant for a long time. For 30 years, we had 39 and 40 police officers, and the town's growing, and as a result, we're going to have to grow with it. We're proud to say that we have 10% of the department is female now. We have our fourth female officer that's in the academy right now, Michelle Slavin. But this is Officer Hazeldine, Officer Van Ness, and Bethany. And they're a great asset to the department. And we do deal with a lot of sensitive issues, and a lot of times, whether it be sexual assault or child abuse or whatever it might be, they are a very common effect, and they're such an asset to the department. And I can't say enough about them and what their contribution is to the department. We have 9 marked police cars, 8 unmarked, 3 motorcycles, and 6 bicycles. So that's just kind of a quick rundown. 7 dispatchers, and 5 of our dispatchers are female as well. We will be moving toward once we get into the new police station, a combined dispatch where we'll have public safety dispatches for police and fire, and we certainly look forward to that. Okay. Next. This is our mission statement, and essentially our mission statement is public safety and community engagement. We are a community-oriented police department. We are a problem-solving oriented police department. You all right, Mary? We are problem-solving oriented, which means that we try and deal with problems, the root cause of the problem, not just keep responding to the same call over and over and over and over again. We try and dig deep into the root cause of the problem so that it's not recurring, and try and deal with those those problems. And, you know, we also try to create those partnerships with everybody in the town so that people want to work with us back and forth. So, okay. I'm proud to say that last year the department was recognized by the United States Department of Justice for our community-oriented policing that we do in Walpole, and some of the things that they recognized us for were our Community Crisis Intervention Team, which deals with mental health issues, our Student Police Advisory Council, which is a group of kids that we work with in the high school to develop partnerships with them and collaborate with our high school students, our Drug and Alcohol Coalition, which is run by Robin Chappelle, our health person at the town hall, and our Positive Tickets program, which is where our officers will catch kids doing right in the community, and they will stop kids, engage them, and give them a positive ticket, as we've seen over here this past week. So that's, you know, we're proud of that. We were put on that map with, as you can see, police departments like Dallas PD and Boston PD and very large agencies, LA and San Diego and Walpole, you know, so we're happy to be on that map. It's, you know, we're glad to be there, so thank you. Next. The department's broken up into 3 categories: patrol, investigations, administration. And these pictures are in here. These are all incidents from Walpole. But, you know, we're not immune from crime. You know, we're a safe community within a safe county, within a safe state, within a state region. But we do still have our fair share of problems. We go after this stuff very vigilantly and try and keep drugs and guns and money and all that, this type of stuff out of our community the best we can. And, you know, while this is a small portion of what we do, again, you know, we're not immune from criminal activity, and as such, I think we do a good job in trying to quell it the best we can. Okay? This slide here is our overdose rate. And we've measured this since 2011. And in the past 6 years, we've had 128 overdoses in Walpole. We've had 25 fatalities, and we've had 59 uses of Narcan. Now, if we didn't have this drug, and that's used by either police officers, our fire department, who does an amazing job in dealing with the overdoses, and bystander use of naloxone, if we didn't have this drug on us, we could potentially be looking at 84 drug fatality overdoses in Walpole. And we are absolutely in an epidemic. I mean, there is no doubt about it. Massachusetts continues to go up in overdoses. As you can see, these are kind of our rundown. Our youngest has been 16, our oldest has been 64. Our average age, what used to be 26, it's up to 30 now. But what we see over and over again is early onset use that sets people on a trajectory of addiction. And I like to call it not the opiate or opioid addiction, but the addiction epidemic. That's what we're dealing with, you know, and we try very hard to deal with this problem. We do a lot of outreach. We get people into treatment. I think I'm proud of our department that we've moved away from arresting our way out of this problem and trying to get people help and resources that they need to get off the drug. And then on the other hand, we vigilantly go after the people that are dealing this poison on our streets in Walpole. Okay. This is just the ancillary crime. So basically, if in Walpole, we'll deal with the drug abuse issue and the ancillary crime that's associated with it. And essentially, our robberies, our house breaks, our car breaks, our shopliftings, most of the crime that you see that occurs in Walpole is linked back to fueling the drug problem. And as you can see, you know, this all happened right here in Walpole, these different incidents. This kid up here in the top left, anybody notice anything about him? He's robbing a store, a pharmacy in a suit. And when we later on arrested him, we actually tied his suit back to a Facebook page. He was on his way to a wedding. And that shows you the grasp that this addiction problem has on people. That this kid would actually be on his way to the wedding and figure, I'll stop by and rob a CVS on the way there. So, next. So we offer a lot of programs, as I said. So aside from all the criminal element, we offer a lot of programs in the department, and we're very proud of them, and that's what got us on that Department of Justice map. We bought these foam cars that we use to engage small kids, and they love them. You know, they had a few incidents where they start whipping them at their little brother and sister or something, but for the most part, they've been a big success. And as you can see, you know, we'll go out. These kids were all waiting at the bus one day, and we went out there and made their day with that stuff. We have a basketball cop program where we got a basketball hoop from Gainesville, Florida. They have a basketball cop program, and we actually bring that hoop to schools or to a kid's house and play the neighborhood kids in basketball. Our Student Police Advisory Council, as I mentioned, that's our high school kids, and then our Positive Ticket program, which is for, again, for, you know, we also have, these are like ice cream cones and pizza and that kind of stuff, but we also have ones for high school kids with like movie passes and that kind of thing, so works good. Next. These are just some of our other programs, and as you can see, we try and engage all different members of our community. Our Citizen Police Academy, that was actually a senior Citizen Police Academy we did for our seniors. Our Rape Aggression Defense class. We do a Ride to School program where we'll pick kids up and bring them to school when they win a raffle or something like that. We have school mentors and school resource officers in all of our schools. And then obviously our bike patrol is always a big one. And you know, these are just programs that we offer. And you know, as I said, there's the criminal stuff that we deal with, but there's also the community engagement that we do. So next. Home for Little Wanderers, we don't just do it with the kids from Walpole, but the kids at Home for Little Wanderers, as you know, is probably, that's always a difficult place to deal with. And I look at it like this, that those kids come from very difficult backgrounds. And I can tell you, I know the story, so I know where they come from. I look at it as the best way to deal with them is to create partnerships, just like everybody else that we do with. And we go in there, and we try to be a familiar face to those kids. They know who we are, and we know who they are by name. And that's very important when you walk in there to a significant crisis situation, that we are able to de-escalate situations that otherwise we wouldn't be able to. And we do that, but we play them in basketball. We just recently did a kickball game against their 5 to 11 and 12-year-olds, and our officers even go down there on their own time. They go down and serve lunch to the kids at their lunchtime there at the school. What's that? Oh yeah. Okay. Next. I'm going to get the cane pulled off here. School violence, very important. My deal with school violence, and not just school violence, active shooter situations, any type of business where these types of violence can happen, workplace violence, school violence, we're prepared to deal with it. And I won't get into all the specifics of how we are prepared to deal with it, but we're prepared to deal with it if any of these types of situations were to ever occur. And as you can see, it's a common occurrence in our country, unfortunately. And you know, we do teach the lock, leave, live. We train very hard with our schools. Lincoln Lynch is great with getting us into the schools every year. And this type of stuff here, as you know, it's a trend that continues, and we're ready to deal with it. Hi, Katie.
Hi.
Love the shirt.
Thank you.
Go, Pat. Is that it? My last slide?
Yep.
I'm getting the hook here. So that's the last slide. So thank you very much, and appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief. I'd like to thank you for your service and your dedication to our community for keeping us safe. He does also do a show on Walpole TV called Walpole 5-0. So check that out on a weekly basis. It's a great little snapshot of what's going on. And eventually I think they'll move it to a 30-minute show called South Street Blues once you guys get down there. You know, the chamber event is never a chamber event unless we have a raffle. If you could just let me know what that number is. I can't see.
I don't have my glasses.
Oh, sorry.
I've got glasses, Eric.
879-325. 879-325. And that's for 4 tickets to the Providence Bruins. Great, great take. $879-288. I know this is going to be the problem with this show. You got a winner? Vic? Awesome. Anybody else yet? 879-292. Can't win twice. Who got it? Neil? Rich? Oh, Marilyn? All right. Vic, I'll come over there in a second. Next up is our fire chief, Tim Bailey, and he's going to talk to us about the status of the new fire station and the temporary building and where we are at that point. Let's welcome Chief Bailey. He's got a couple slides. Oh. No. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you. Harry asked me to come in and give a brief update on the status of the fire station that's being built right now. The station is being built to replace the first station that was built in that location was built in 1902 for $4,000. In 1954, it was reconstructed on the same site for $140,000, and today we're building it for approximately $14.2 million in the same location. The current station was built in 1954 as a combination police and call fire station. Today, our fire department is all full-time. We have 32 members currently on the job. We just are in the process of hiring 4 more, so we'll have 36 on the line, and we'll be the only ones in the building. Our footprint currently is 11,000. We're going to 22,000 square feet with 6 bays, as you can see on the photo that I have here. There'll be 6 bays across the front that are actually drive-through, and we'll have 6 bays that come out the backside. This dotted line here is the current station, and the salmon color is the outline of the new station that'll be over the outside of it. I'll be around at the end to entertain any, it's hard to see from back there, but I'll be around at the end to entertain any questions anyone may have specific to it. So the project started in October after it was voted with the temporary operations portion, which is being built next to Blackburn Hall. The tent is currently up and almost ready for us to occupy the tent and start building out the rest of the tent structure. We'll have 8 pieces of apparatus that will be housed inside the temporary tent structure until the project is finished. The trailers will be arriving, which will be going on the rear side, down in here. Those will be arriving on February 22nd. There's approximately a 2-week build-out for them to put the trailers in place, get them connected, because there's 2 sections to it. And once that's connected and the temp ops tent itself is connected to it, then we will begin the process of moving from our current station over into the new station. They have given us approximately 2 weeks to make that transition, of which we've already started some of it. The administrative offices are going to be down at 944C Main Street, which is the old Dalton's package store. Tony LaRusso has been gracious enough to give us that space, and we are currently in there. We've been in there for about a week now. We're transacting all of our business through that office. Once the rest of the staff moves out in mid-March, we'll be turning the building over to the general contractor. There'll be a fence going up around the current station, and on April 1st, they're planning on starting the abatement of the building, and then the demolition will follow right after that. The projected timeline for total completion of the project, for substantial completion, is June of 2018. And with that, I'll be around at the end to answer any questions specific to the temp ops. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Bailey, and again, we appreciate everything you do for us in the town and protecting us. Again, Chief Bailey has been with our fire department for many, many years, and again, he's doing a great job, and we appreciate it. Next up on the agenda is Selectman Mark Galvin, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about what's going on in town with our town affairs, and he might also speak a little bit towards the budget that was just proposed. or Jim will?
Or Jim will,
Or
probably.
Jim could talk to us about that. And again, this is a very much of a informational state of this town, and none of our officials are targets here, so please hold any questions. They're going to be presenting the information, and that's what this event is for. Thank you.
I just wanted to give a real brief update on the building projects. You just heard about the fire station. The same kind of things are going on with the police station. The land at South Street, where the police station and the Council on Aging will be constructed, is in the final stages of an EPA cleanup. So we're going to see early in the spring, hopefully in the March, April timeframe, they'll complete the cleanup work. The police station contract has been awarded, just like the fire station, and they're gearing up, getting ready to start construction over on South Street. Once that building has been completed, police will move out of the current police station, former Old Town Hall, and move over. We as selectmen are putting together a committee to take a look at reuse of that building. Richard Pila spoke briefly about it, but I know that Richard will be on the reuse committee, because I've asked Richard personally if he would consider joining that reuse committee, because I would really like to see that building put back to a good use. It's a great building, has issues, it's an old building, and it's a historic building, and because we took money way back when to keep it as a historic building, many of you don't know that the building has storm windows, but they have to be on the inside, because you can't do anything to the outside envelope of the building. But I think that building has a lot of potential. The Council on Aging, town meeting has also approved money for the design and construction of a Council on Aging. The council is in the final stages of design. It's probably in the 90% completion phase, and over the next month or so, we'll go to 100% completion, which is great. That building is being done with a combination of town funding. We're also in the midst of applying for a state grant, which will hopefully pay for some of that building. And then the Friends of the Elders in Walpole is kind of in the quiet phase right now, but they're going and raising money right now for the final monies that will be needed to complete that building. So I think, just like the library, town money, state grant, private fundraising, the Council on Aging is being done the same way. I attend the Council on Aging meetings every month, not every month, but every month when I'm in town. And I think the seniors are very excited about having a new modern building. And I've gone around and toured many buildings that are councils on aging in the state. And we are way behind right now on the kind of programs, and it's really all about the programs, the health welfare programs that are done. And we owe it to our seniors to provide them nothing but the best. And I think the new senior center will move us up tremendously. And I love that it's, hopefully being done with a combination of town money, state grant, and private fundraising. So you'll hear more on the private fundraising from the Friends of the Elders over the next couple of months. But I know they're actively working, and they have commitments on money, and you'll start hearing announcements over the next, month or two. That's all I really wanted to update you on. Jim's going to give an update as well. I'll be here after the meeting. If anybody has any questions, feel free to call me or call me anytime. Thank you.
Thank you, Chamber of Commerce, and thank you, Harry. Most of you at your tables have this document here. That's basically my state of the town. I'm required by charter to submit the state of the town, called the budget message, every year just around this time. I happened to do it last night. In case you missed it, I'm sure it'll be on Walpole Cable TV, must-see TV. Basically, what this document outlines is what's some of the goals and objectives we're going to accomplish over the next year or so. The buildings are highlighted in there, some of the projects that are upcoming, town infrastructure needs. Some other projects that I also highlighted as some ongoing development projects. I'm around town a lot. A lot of people ask me, what's going on with the Foundry project, where Michelle's used to be, where B&G currently is. What's going on with the Mansell-Corcoran project on West Street? Where are they at in the permitting process? They are just in the beginning of the permitting process. Those two projects are going to really transform Walpole, I feel. It's going to bring a commercial and mixed-use residential developments right in the heart of Walpole. That's something Mr. Peeler, I think, touched upon, and I think it's going to encourage residents to stay in Walpole and also commute into Boston and wherever else. Again, those are in the planning stages. I expect those projects to probably take 6 to 9 months to work their way through the zoning and planning boards. I wish it could be faster. I've talked to the developers myself, but there is a process here we have to go through. We have to allow the planning board, the zoning board, and the conservation to make sure the town's protected, and we're going to see that work its way through. There's some other projects outlined in this document. I encourage you to take a look at it. It's long, but I tried to cover as much as possible. But some of the other items that I've been asked about that aren't covered in there, we touched upon the MBTA. At this point, no real progress has been made as far as the state with the MBTA and moving that project forward. I've gone to the last 3 or 4 meetings in Boston in November, December, and just in January. They're still vetting that through. They haven't even developed a pilot program for the policy for the program. So it's still in the very early stages. We have a seat at the table, making our voice heard. The Board of Selectmen is engaged with this, so we'll continue to keep the community updated. One way or another, I think if the state wants to do this, they are going to do it, but we can slow it down. And I want to get as much mitigation for the residents of Walpole, and especially for the direct abutters there. The downtown parking issue, Mr. Peeler touched upon that. Some of you were at that meeting back in April, and actually that was a real eye-opening event for me, and it taught me a little bit about engaging in not only the Chamber of Commerce, but also the downtown business owners. Tony, Donnell was here earlier, in really getting involved, and now I have a list of a lot of you. If you're not on that list with my updates as to I've sent out with the parking, please reach out to me. Get me your email. I'll put you on the email circle so you can be updated on as to the developments going on downtown. And I touched upon everything I need to. I'm going to be here. I'm going to hang around afterwards. I'm sure I'll be talking to you. So if you have any questions, please come up, talk to me. Myself, both chiefs, Patrick are still here. I know Mark's going to hang around, so let us know. And thank you for coming. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, last winner is 879-274. You got a winner? All right, Rob. I'll come over there in a second. So great. Thank you, Jim. We appreciate, again, all that you do there at Town Hall. Can only imagine how tough that job can be, trying to please a lot of people. And before we kind of go to the closing statements, and we're right on time, that's awesome. Any suggestions, comments of today's event and how, whether you liked it or you'd like to see something different? Please? No? Yes? Everything was great? Perfect? Can't be better? Awesome. So again, I'd like to thank everyone for being here today. I appreciate you taking out time out of your personal life or your business life. Everybody that's spoken is doing everything I believe that they can to make Walpole a better place to be. I would suggest that the mission that we can take away from today is that we all need to get on the same path, and that is for a better Walpole, whether it be for the residents, whether it be for the seniors, whether it be for downtown. Again, we are different. We can come together, work together, and be one of the best towns around. Walpole will be different. We will be one of the better towns. We will have a great senior center. We will have a great downtown. We will have a great school system. Our sports teams will do great. We just have incredible people here. And I ask you to all think about, again, whatever you can do for us in the community. We appreciate that. We thank you for that. If you can help us out with the Chamber of Commerce in any way, we also would thank that. Thank you for that. But if we can help you, please let us know. We're here for you. It's about advancing business and community. I thank you very much. Be well, be safe. Go Patriots.